we've walked into a trap. And we've walked into a trap. And we've walked into a trap.
Now, this is a simple topic, but it is very useful for victims at brain control so that they know why no one intervenes to help them, and no one cares about their cause, and they are left completely alone without any intervention. They help the needy, but when the victim goes to them, he will not be helped with anything, and this is something that will be repeated with all victims at brain control always, and this is a situation that will negatively affect the victim's psyche and morale and weaken a lot. There is something worse than this, which is that if others refrain from helping the victim with money or any assistance, it was enough for her and they did not interfere. This is perhaps less bad than that they will be next to the gang and carry out what is required of them to be very degrading and filthy behavior. Help is sufficient for him. I mean when he escapes to another region, for example, Adawania, Baghdad, Syria, etc. from cities in Iraq in order to ask for help or get rid of the brain control waves that destroy his brain also from a stage similar to that of a person who came from another planet here who will do the same thing, which is that these people, with all moral degeneration and filth, will carry out what is asked of them also the waves do not stop despite the reason its existence is according to what the gang says that the victim is a donkey who lives and eats and drinks and lives with them while they use these waves as if it were traditions or religious rituals. They have something similar to a tribe who wears a hat and they impose this on to that. He is among them, and as long as he lives in a house for them, or he eats or drinks, talks, hears and thinks, etc. they have up along with them, or eat, drink, and dwell with them, etc. But if this is true, why do these waves not stop when the victim goes out to another place, or why the rest deal with the victim in the same way as if they were a true copy of the cop's swamp from which everyone also got out? It becomes in a good condition and also the waves remain on it, and the biggest problem of this is that the battle will be transferred to them, which is a one-person fight against a gang, meaning that they will not be content with not interfering or commitment to a neutral side, but rather they will become a second version of the gang from which the victim escaped because it is an absolutely unfair war the ruling and it is a terrorist among them and the gang is with him, while the victim is only one poor person who does not have any money, followers, or property, and he does not walk with them. All they have, as nothing is known about their flaws, the farce, which is a farce, as it is like a football match in which the referee is biased, meaning the victim, no matter how much he scores goals that are not counted as well. If he wins over them, the match will also be repeated. I mean, for example, the interviewer uses brain control weapons, which is stronger than the effective chemical weapons. 3 of them in order to play the role that they are with the victim or his team or imitate his behavior or say that they're their property or positions that they have are his, while all this is a lie. Not one of them takes a single word that the victim says to them and does not do anything he wants, and this is just a lie in order to deceive others, and he made them believe that the issue is a fair match and there are 2 teams in the arena and a referee, and the victim is not a poor person alone, but he has followers, money and a heart for him, while the truth is that he is playing a match against 2 teams, and against the referee also means the team against him is also an enemy. The team that lies and says that he is with him to enemy him because he does not take any word or any orders from him and does not carry out anything he wants, but they are just a lie as well. These are they and the enemy, both of them are one family or one organization. Also, the referee is the leader of the gang and he is also an enemy. Here is how this dirty gang plays with it. Here we go back to the subject in order to notice small eyes about the reason friction of the brain control waves, which as I said is a weapon they have or consider something similar to theirs, and no one holds them accountable because they say the victim works for them or a donkey eats and drinks and lives with them, and this is something that belongs to them and no one has the right to intervene, But why did not end when the victim goes outside the area? Here it is assumed that all the arguments fall. I mean, he will not eat or drink alive or here alive or speak or he takes clothes etc. from the tricks the gang had made an argument for putting brain waves on him. Here's why the opposite happened and the game was. For that, it was copied and moved to another new place, and it is funny that the same lies will be repeated, which is that they will justify the setting of brain control waves and say the same lies, which is that he eats, drinks, takes something or lives, etc. He was given some food or drink, or he said the donkey was the one who came to him or passed by his house or looked at him here. He was supposed to give him nothing instead of beating him. Of course, the answer to all of this is the reason that the person who leads the gang branch in the district of Afaq is the same person who has a gang branch in the governorates of Dawanya, Baghdad, Nasiriyah, or the cities in Iraq, and since this is the enemy for this reason, the same game will be repeated. As long as this devil's pie remains, the victim is in danger, and he is exactly like Saddam Hussein, to whom all of Iraq was connected. They all behave in the same aggressive manner, blockade, spread lies about the victim, and prevent others from giving any financial aid that is sufficient to change his condition and make him possess a weapon, for example. Firstly, this gang is spying on the victim by means of the brain control segment, and through her they can hear and watch with her, but even reading ideas, meaning the victim has become an open book from to know all the plans she has and everything she wants to do. They will know about it, and this is the most important reason for the victim's failure in their against them. Sevnat. Also, this will demoralize the victim because of the constant failure, and the victim thinks that the gang uses people or cameras for spying while it is only the brain's control segment. It is for you and everyone who has elements affiliated with you, also everyone you know whom you think are your friends. You are also responsible for him. Do you also know that this slice that he planted on you costs more than $17,000, in addition to the price of control programs and broadcasting waves to you, as well as the salaries of the elements? The one responsible for all of this is money. You do not have even a quarter of it, but the game is that they gave you this and you became them or with them. It carries a number, or you could first earn it to recognize it. Here you will say that this is not correct and you do not work for them and you do not take any salary from them. This is correct, but I am the one who says this, and all the specialists in dealing with this gang do not do this, but rather you are treated as if you were one of them. But even when you say that there is a gang attacking you, others will say about this that it is an internal matter, meaning that it is something similar to that you work in a company and you have half of it and there is a partner for who in it, and a disagreement, a cut between you or a competitor for positions in it. Of course, this is a lie, but the gang, she is the one who says this, and it is one of the reasons that others will not give you any help, especially financial. It is what you desperately need because of the gang blockade, also to treat NJSK and buy a personal weapon for self-defense, but no one will give you anything at all. You may find some 8 of them will give you something very trivial and simple that will not benefit you in anything useful, but even this he gave you this after the gang gave him orders for it. They agree on this, and all of them do not violate the orders if they're there at all. Something else add, which is the laws of affiliation with them. Do you know anything about it? Of course not. For example, did you know that eating and drinking are all regarded as belonging to them? I mean, when you eat anything they have, you will be hunted and become even though you are with them. Of course, these are a dirty race. They do not have any humanity or morals, and they do not care anything about generosity or helping those in need. This is why you are exploiting the state of poverty that you have, meaning they give you a loaf of bread, even or old clothes. People you need from friends or even a shop from which you'd buy something, a restaurant, a cafe, a taxi, etc. All of these are with them. This is why you deal with them. When you complain or announce that you are a victim, no one will believe you because the gang will make you belong to them and say you live with them and eat and drink. Are you the one who comes to them to work for them? I mean, you imagine that because you have no money, you live in your family's house, but the gang says you are coming to work for them or go to a friend of yours, and that is something. 9 at. Very usual, or you call him on the phone, etc. Bitch, this is interpreted that you want to work for him. Also, when you go to a store to buy something you also need, they say he came first to work for us or he belongs with us. Do not work for them, but this is folly first. They are not a respectable thing, but a gang, so they do not have a supreme body or legal committee to search for them in order to know that you are just a resident in your family's house and not affiliated with them, and you do not take any salary from them. They are all a gang of terror and thieves, only they are all corrupting, and there is the first of them. They also consider action an organization and have the right to establish internal laws for them and do not accept that anyone interferes in their affairs, which unfortunately is you. Here, notice that you are just their way. They just surrounded you completely and destroyed all financial means for you. You learn the specialists about this gang about it, but others do not know about it either. I know that you entered the Bible church in Iraq, perhaps praying, and perhaps for another purpose. Here he noticed that their own laws are traps that change, meaning the more you know about them and their action, they change theirs so that they fall in it also, and because of the espionage. You have to persist. For example, they know, for example, that you need a battery, for example, so traps are set for you to say, he came first to work for us or belong with us. Your nationality, or you married, etc. of the usual things. At. Very well, but they consider it an affiliation or a job with them. But as I told you, no one will give you any salary at all, and the reason is that you will work as a donkey only for him. And as I said, a gang of terror and thieves are all corrupt. They themselves are above the law and no one has the authority to hold them accountable. I mean, we all know the good labor law within the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and there is a difference between slavery and work as well. Even if you decide to work for free in any institution, you must first know how much the salary is and receive it with your tongue and expect on him, and then you can donate it, and all of this must be based on a legal document also. Of course, there is nothing called some food or drink or housing or some old clothes or other illegal tricks also. Even if you become begging from the elements of this gang from help, this is also not salary absolutely. Now, did you know, the victim, why no one gives you anything or helps you, or no matter how you raise complaints against them, no one will admit them as you are left on your own. The reason is that there is falsification of qualities about you and you do not know at all. Also, the lions say that you work for them or you are one of them or belonging to them, but within their laws only, which you do not know anything about at all, and all of them are fraud and traps. You work for them or from them and you do not know this at all. I mean, I know that only harm comes from them and not. 11 at. There is no benefit, but they use it as a trick in order to lie to others and say that you are working with them. The problem, as I said, the true one holds them accountable and according to the labor laws and tells them what the salary is. There is no work without a salary. As for the unseen lie, it is also a game of theirs, which means, for example, that they are given a salary, but in an indirect way similar to theft between them. This is just a dirty game that has no legitimacy, and it is only a trap. Also, it is a challenge to God.